The Silence at Estancia Santa Áurea, a southern Argentine folkloric ghost story. They say the southern winds of Patagonia can carry voices some never meant to be heard again. In 1978, under a sky of hard stars and wide silence, Clara Ortiz stepped off a government transport truck onto the gravel road that led to Estancia Santa Áurea. She carried a suitcase, a file of classified orders, and a false name, Maria Beltran. Once a thriving sheep ranch, it had been appropriated by the regime as a holding site, a place where the names of the disappeared were scrubbed into silence. The estancia stood at the edge of the steppe like a forgotten tooth. She was a linguist, once a professor at the University of Buenos Aires. The military wanted her skills to decipher coded rebel communiques, but what they really wanted was obedience. The nearest town, El Manzano, called it El Campo de los Mudos, the field of the mute, and distance. Clara was not a soldier. Santa Áurea, they said, was quiet, but the locals avoided it. Her first night was uneventful. A single soldier remained on the property, Corporal Lujan, who mostly drank and muttered about hearing things in the walls. Scorch marks in the shape of handprints. Words scratched into the wood in reverse. She kept her notes in an old journal that refused to stay closed at night. A metal chair bolted to the floor in a room that no longer had a door. He warned her not to wander the west wing. "It's not the ghosts," he said. "It's the gualicho." She translated intercepted letters, mostly mundane. But by night, the estancia seemed to shift. Doors no longer opened the same way. The windows showed horizons that didn't match the land. Her own reflection began to age unevenly. Clara knew the word. A Mapuche curse. Something twisted, born of betrayal and left to rot under the land. She dismissed it as superstition, but she did not sleep. He held a red scarf and pointed toward the well behind the farmhouse. A cursed soul, severed from its human body, flying in the night to drink fear and blood. Because in the dead of night, the wind carried words that did not belong to any living tongue. Each room in the estancia bore traces of those who had come and vanished. Clara catalogued everything. On the third evening, the dreams began. What she found wasn't a room, but a space folded into itself, like a mouth with no throat. The walls bled softly, and in the center stood a woman. She dreamed of a man in a gaucho hat with a bleeding mouth, whispering in lunfardo. In one hand she held a silver mate gourd, and in the other the red scarf from Clara's dream. "The names are still down there," he rasped. "Say them, and they will answer." She woke with dirt under her nails. By day, Clara followed the orders. She found an old Mapuche carving behind the pantry, an owl with no eyes, etched into petrified wood. Beneath it, the same word repeated, Chonshin, an old witch bird. She heard its wings 3 nights later. Corporal Lujan disappeared the following morning. His boots were left neatly outside the west wing. Clara ventured inside alone. Not a ghost, not a person. A shape. She was wrapped in a poncho that shimmered like oil on water, her face indistinct, flickering. "Do you remember your name?" she asked. Clara dropped her journal. The scarf appeared on her bed the next morning. It was old, frayed, with initials stitched into the corner. L.O., her mother's initials. Her mother, Lucia Ortiz, had vanished in 1976. A suspected unionist, arrested and never heard from again. But her name wasn't on any official list. The wind clawed through every room, and the chinchins screamed from the rafters. Clara returned to the well. She dropped a stone. No echo. Then, with trembling hands, she whispered, "Lucia Ortiz." From the depths came a sound like breath. And then, a voice, her mother's voice, clear and hoarse. "I'm still here." Tourists reported whispering winds. Children claimed to see a woman in a black dress standing by the well, holding a silver mate. The wind rose suddenly, howling through the estepa like a chorus of unfinished prayers. The well bled rust. The land shuddered, and Clara felt the gualicho stir. It was never a place. It was a silence fed by stolen names, vanished bodies, buried screams. Clara returned to the house. There, in the west wing, the veiled woman waited. She held out the scarf. "Do you wish to break the spell?" she asked. Clara nodded. "Then speak the names." For hours, Clara recited every name in her journal, every etched initial, every whisper heard in dreams. Each name summoned a voice from the silence. Some wept, some sang, some screamed. The house trembled, lights shattered, and then stillness. The candle in the kitchen flickered once and died. When a new patrol arrived weeks later, they found the estancia abandoned. No sign of Clara, no reports, just a red scarf nailed to the door and a single phrase carved into the lintel: "Aquí no se cala más." In the years that followed, strange phenomena persisted at Santa Áurea, and when the wind is just right, they say you can still hear names drifting over the plains, spoken not by the living, but by those long denied the dignity of remembrance.